And welcome to Family Jewels.
It's been so long I can't even remember what we said at the beginning of it.
Well, I'm Olga Koch and you're Charlie Dinkin.
And this is Family Jewels, the podcast that we're on.
We have a very special guest in
what a special
brand new
guest.
studio today.
So nice. Dream. I'm going to say comedian, right? But you can tell us if the order is wrong. Comedian, writer.
Yeah, that's a good order. Yeah.
Actor.
No. You can't put that on there.
Comedian, writer.
Oh, I think I could only do parts that are like quirky girl.
That's good. That's a genre.
Been playing that all my life.
Fashionista.
Oh, thank you.
Fashionista
Yes,
is a big one.
No, okay, thank
I'd
you
say
for putting that
fashionista
one
second after comedian.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Yeah, I prefer it to writing.
Okay, I think we've nailed down your CV.
Yeah.
It's Pravanya Pillay.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't guessed yet.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm really good.
Thank you for joining us in our beautiful new studio that our audio listeners will not be able to enjoy, but our YouTube viewers will be able to see.
So let me just describe to you what's happening behind Pravanya. We have one of my duvet covers, which is a pink with red hearts print. Then we have a big pink boa. Then we have a skeleton behind the boa wearing lots of pearls and a headscarf.
Oh my God, you could name the skeleton. Do you want to name
Oh my
the
God,
skeleton?
thank you so much. I would love to name the skeleton. Okay. Oh, I'm actually really bad at naming stuff. I always just name it the thing.
There's so much excitement up top to then...
Because I love to name things, but I know I'm bad at it. Like, I would always name, like, a horsey or something.
Okay, you know what? That's good.
Is it?
It does what it says on the tin.
That is what I thought.
You're not guessing who's Jenna.
Exactly.
Horsey
We
is
don't
a horse.
need another Steve. Do you know my childhood toys? Were Pink Pig and Spotty Dog.
That's really great.
Yeah.
But it would be
Kelly
so funny
the Skelly?
Yeah, the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Kelly
the Skelly.
Kelly the Skelly. Well, no, you can think of it could be that, but you could think of whatever you like.
What about like Ethan?
I like that.
Ethan.
I like that a lot.
What up, Ethan? I'm not going to touch it because I think we'll knock it over. Everything is held together by clips, and that's okay.
So Pravanya, in many ways, aren't we all?
All
What
held
is a
together.
facelift if not a facelift is just a big clip on the back of your head?
Yeah. I'm gonna get one of these. Says the money. Some people are doing. Are you a top knot person?
Yeah, I do.
Instant
I like to do
facelift.
it.
You
Instant
do.
facelift.
I don't think it really suits me because I think it makes my chin look very large. I think it makes me look a bit like top of head small. Look, I'm not a professional face describer, but like top of head small, bottom of head wide.
A pear-shaped head.
It's like a
It's all the rage.
a gummy, an American hard gum. I don't want my face to be that shaped.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah.
I also think that, like, you know the thread lift, right? Where they literally put threads under your skin and pull your eyes back, so you're
wow.
and like your eyebrows specifically, so you're like this, and so you could do a thread lift by just pulling the hair pieces around your eyes and just lifting them around eyebrows. I don't know if that works, but like you could put them back.
Okay, we
Is
might
this
need
helping?
One
I
day.
think it does with me. I think it does. I think it makes like quite a big difference when I do it.
A purely visual medium.
Yeah.
Come on.
If I just like,
Really
Is
hard.
that-
Oh my
does that
God,
look- it does look really
You look
different.
surprised.
It actually does though. It makes. I think it makes a huge difference every time I do it.
Oh god!
Yeah.
And that's why I like when men pull my hair. You've lost 5 years. I don't. I actually don't. That was for the joke.
Upsetting.
I just like to be kissed. So, Pravanya, the Family Jewels is a podcast about families. And boy, oh boy, do you have a big one.
Yeah, I do. And
you?
met? Yeah, I've got a huge fan. Olga's met loads of them.
I've gone to a barbecue at her aunt's house.
Yeah.
It
Why
was
did you
sick.
invite yourself to Pravanya's family
you?
barbecue?
Hey! Hey!
How did the invitation arrive where you were like, my family's big, I gotta have Olga there too?
That was great though.
Well, I think it was
really
a
good.
matter of Pravanya inviting her best friend Sam inviting his girlfriend at the time, Olga, and Olga inviting her best friend at the time and current boyfriend.
Yeah, that's really funny actually.
And we all
Okay. It's modern.
It is
It's a new kind of
actually.
family.
Yeah.
Was it for an occasion, your family barbecue?
It was just for the summer. So
That's nice.
my cousin Vrishka, she always throws these like really great parties with
yeah.
loads
It was an
of
amazing
food,
party.
loads of food, just table laden with food. Because if you don't have enough food at parties, someone will say something.
Yeah, fine.
Like they'll like, and by not enough food, I mean like if you would see the food and you'd be like, oh, that's enough. But the Indian South Africans will see the food and they'll be like, someone's scrimping. They are so judgmental. So you have got to roll out all the stops when you have an Indian South African party.
What's the show? Are you barbecuing? Like, what's the showpiece?
You barbecue, but you don't just barbecue.
Okay.
Oh, and God forbid it's only vegetarian food.
Okay.
They will
I wouldn't
complain.
dare.
Although Visha's house is a vegetarian household, which means that she has to go like double hard. Like she has to go. She has to really put out the stops because they'll say they're hungry. They'll eat like a full plate and then they'll be like, "Oh, we're still hungry."
Wow.
Because they've only had
and then have to be like a
vegetables.
meat option of every starter, main, dessert.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's so you have to like, because they will say stuff and then it will go back and then like a month later you'll hear like, oh, I heard you threw a party, there was no food.
Wow,
That's
what
shady.
a band.
That's
Yeah,
shady.
I know it's terrible. But it keeps us on our toes and it makes us better. Yeah.
Indian, South African.
Oh, yeah, I
We're
just
hearing
keep
this a
saying
lot
it.
on the wind.
Tell us more about your
What
culture.
are we talking?
So basically, a whole bunch of Indian. So this is a really dismissive way to describe what I'm. Right, so like a whole bunch, a pile of them. I think they're like a gander when they're all together. So they were taken. This is why it's. So they were taken from India to South Africa as like indentured laborers, basically. So they were taken. It was like a slavery loophole, essentially.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Is there
which is why it's really dismissive to call them a
When
bunch.
would this have been? Yeah, truly, you really made that sound
A bunch of them
more
just-
casual than it was.
Yeah.
When are we talking?
Probably. So I think it was like my great grandparents. I think.
Okay. And is it a specific state in India where this
It was Tamil Nadu or like South. It was South Indians. They were taken. They were. This is the rumor that I heard. They were told they were going to Delhi, and then they were taken to South Africa.
Oh no!
Classic trick.
No!
It's got us all.
Yeah.
We've all
People had
done
it for
we've all
Delhi
done
and
it.
ended up somewhere else.
Yeah.
So then they went to South Africa.
Yeah,
They
so
were...
huge Indian diaspora in South Africa. The most amount of Indians outside of India.
Oh
apparently.
really?
I-
So
well,
it's still
I
there.
Yeah, I saw it on a Trevor Noah stand-up special. I saw him say that, but
Could be.
Yeah, it does feel right when you're there. It does.
I
feel
feel like they
right.
fact check
Yeah.
a Trevor Noah comedy special.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I'm just like so Britain first,
Hmm.
but not like that.
Ooh.
But I feel like I would be like, would I? If someone was like, is there a bigger Indian population in the UK or in South Africa? I would be like, my heart tells me the UK.
I think there is a big Indian population here, but it is like very concentrated.
I feel like it's percentage wise, it's probably bigger here, but maybe in numbers, it's bigger in South Africa.
Yeah,
And
possibly.
the thing is, we can look this up very easily.
We
Yeah.
never will, but
Yeah.
someone will, and that's okay.
The Trevor Noah guys will.
I feel like Trevor Noah would have fact checked. He knows what he's
Yeah, no,
talking
he
about.
can't just say it. No, he can. He can like, absolutely.
Have you been to South Africa to visit?
Yes, yeah. I used to go all the time when I was a kid. Yeah, I used to go quite often when I was a
So
kid.
your grandparents were born there.
So yeah, they were, and my mum and dad were born there as well.
Yeah.
And my dad moved here when he was 18 months old, so he grew up here.
Yeah.
And my mum moved here when she married him.
And
Yeah.
how old was she?
She was 31, which is very late for
Okay.
for especially in the 90s for Indian women to marry at. No, she was 30. She was 31 when she had me. So, but 30 was like.
Why
like,
was
oh.
she 30? What was she waiting
What was
for?
she thinking?
How dare she be 30?
So she was just.
she was waiting for a good one.
I don't.
I
think
need you guys
so.
to understand.
Have I told you the story about how my parents met?
Pravanya's mom is the hottest woman you'll ever
Okay,
meet.
she had offers. She was just like, I
Honestly,
know it's going to be okay.
She literally was having a good time.
Yeah, she could have just
She
kept
was
going.
she was
Yes,
traveling. She was living a life, and she was kind of like sick and tired of like the South African men, and because they. They at the time she was like they wanted a woman who would like cook and clean and like
And she wanted to dance on the bar table
she
with
wanted
her
to
tummy out.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have told you this story.
Okay.
She
Please
just
tell
wanted
the
to have a good
story.
time,
Tell
and she
us
doesn't
now.
want to be told what to do, and she wants to live her life, and she wants to like
She's a cool
go
chick.
on holidays, and she doesn't want anyone to like tell her off. She wants someone to pick her up when she's out late. Like that's what she wants.
Yeah, good.
And the patriarchy is very strong in South Africa, and like the old and the Indian community is unfortunately, well, in my experience, they like tend to conform to gender roles, and she just wasn't having it. Like she just didn't want that, and it made her a less attractive prospect.
Okay.
So yeah,
She was too cool to get
and she was
married.
just not demure as well. Like they would bring boy, That's what they used to do. They used to bring boy to see girl, and like her sister would kind of be sat like very nicely, would go get the tea, and she would just be swimming.
Yeah.
She would just be swimming. She would just be like running around with her brothers, like swimming. She was the oldest, and they would always be like, "Oh, like we don't want her really interested in the younger one," because they thought she was younger because she was having such a good time.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh, she had a youthful spirit.
She did. Yeah, she just wanted to have a good time, and she didn't want anyone to stop her from.
So how I got to know now how they met.
Okay, this is they have an insane meeting story. So so my dad lives here, and there's like an Indian South African community here, and it's small at the time. It's grown since, but it's quite small. So every Indian South African knows each other, and they're all friends, and they all like have dinner parties all the time. And so my dad knows my mum's aunt. So he knows her.
Yes.
And she's like, when you go to South Africa, there's this nice girl. You should go see her.
So the aunt is living in the UK at the time.
The aunt's living in the UK. She's like, there's this girl. You should go see her. My mum at this time, she's come to England, and she's got the bug for the UK. She likes the UK. She thinks that she likes. I don't know what year is it. Oh, she likes Thatcher, I guess. No. It's John Major. No, she likes John Major.
She likes John Major. She likes. Wait, when is it? 80s?
No, it was like at the time.
No, 90.
He's like, yeah, probably like
Lady
90,
Diana.
92. Yeah,
She likes
she loves
low-rise
Diana.
jeans.
Yeah.
She likes the Teletubbies.
Yeah.
She loves the Berlin Wall crashing on TV. Yeah.
She specifically likes the UK perspective of the Berlin Wall falling.
Amazing.
But she's grown up in apartheid South Africa, and like I think she knew that like there was something here that she really liked, and
So she moved completely independently of your dad.
No, she hasn't moved yet. She hasn't moved.
Okay, she just visited.
So she just visited, but she likes it here already. She kind of knows. She told me, she was like, when I was flying over, something in me was like, you're gonna end up here.
Aww.
Yeah, which is really nice. That's how I feel when I fly over Heathrow. I mean, I know I'm not gonna leave. Basically.
On the train into Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna end up here. This is where I belong. But yeah, so they don't really know each other. So then my dad, I would say like, so I don't know what his deal is, but he's like ready to get married. He's ready to
He's a little
down.
older than her, right?
He's 35. He's actually also considered relatively old. People are like, why isn't he? But obviously he's a man, so like there's less pressure on him.
He's been busy.
yeah, exactly.
Don't ask any more questions.
He at the time is working for British Airways.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's like doing IT for British Airways.
So she's on the plane that he's doing IT for.
Okay.
No, that's the absolute. That would be great, but no, but it's actually way worse. So he like goes to South Africa and he calls her up, and he's like, and she's I then arranged to meet, and she's like, he's bad. He's got bad phone etiquette. She was like, oh, he just sounded like a weirdo on the phone. But she's like, all right, whatever. I'll give this guy a chance. So they meet, and he's late. First of all,
Bad boy.
yeah, he's late. He arrives, and she says that when he arrived, she knew it was him. She knew that he was, but she didn't like him. But she knew it was him.
Like, I guess this is the one.
Yeah, but she knew it was him. And then and like the first impression is terrible. Like she just doesn't like him. she just thinks he's like a bit pompous. He says stuff like, "Oh, I smoke the occasional cigar." And she's like, "Why?" She's like, she's confused as to why he said that. At one point, he's like, "Oh, because my dad's
He's
got
clearly nervous." That's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like a
yeah,
really
yeah.
nervous
Keep
dude
that
would say.
to yourself.
At one point, he's like, "Oh, do you notice anything weird about me?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Well, he's only got one eye." And then he's like, "I've only got one eye." You're lying. You do notice it. And my mum was like, "My brother only had one eye, so I would have hated." And then he's just like,
this conversation is so
going
complicated for a
so
first date.
badly. Honestly, going terribly. Like he just keeps putting his foot in it. And then
He's like, "Why won't you offend me? I don't understand."
I've already offended my brother for years. I see you the same. You're like a brother to me. What a weird way of saying it.
I don't feel like they had anything in common. I can't imagine that that they had anything in common. But they must have been something. But anyway, she goes home, and he like, it's South Africa, so everyone drives everywhere. But he he follows her to make sure she gets home safe.
Okay.
And then no, she knows he's following her. He follows her to make sure she gets home safe, and that's it. To this day, he's like, oh, I was just lost. I wasn't helping you.
Oh, come on.
Which was a lie. He wanted to make sure she got home safe.
course.
And
Sweet.
that wins her over a little bit. She's like, okay, the bar is low.
He cares about me not dying on my way home.
Yeah, also she was fine. Like, she lived there. Like,
To my house in the country where I live.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he could have just been lost. I actually now believe that maybe he was
He followed me
lost.
home, parentheses, good reasons.
Yeah.
Noble, sexy, romantic
Yeah.
reason. Yeah,
So she says, like, she's like, okay, I tell you what, like, I'm going to my sister's for dinner tomorrow. You can come. So my uncle and my uncle's wife and my mum, they go to pick him up, and my uncle like is like immediately doesn't like him because he thinks he's someone else. That's true.
Wait,
what?
Yeah, so he
He
just
thinks
thinks
he's his nephew.
So there's like some other guy also from London that my mum is seeing who bought her who bought her a UB40 single. A single. Is it? I was like, when
wonder she
I
didn't want
found
to get
this thing,
married.
I found
Honestly,
it as well. I
the
found
quality
it as well.
of man available.
Like a UB40 single. I was like, I can't believe this cheapskate bought you just a single. Because
What was the
I know
song?
that he was a rich guy as well.
But also, I love that this
Red,
is
red
just
wine.
a little.
Okay, but that's a
good
sexy song.
That's a good song.
That's
But
to the point. You don't need to mess around with the other 8 tracks.
Yeah.
The footnote is she's seeing other people.
Oh yeah. Like she's dating around. He's I think he was probably dating around as well. So then they so they go to pick him up. He's classic British guy. He's like, lovely to meet you, to my uncle. My uncle, classic South African guy, is like, get in the car. Like, just says it like that. That's how they talk there. It's actually hard for me. I'm a classic British guy, so I find it very difficult. So my dad gets in the car. The first thing he says is, I cannot tolerate rudeness. So already it's like, oh, really tense.
Wait, your dad says
My
this.
dad says that to my uncle.
No.
I should say they're like really good friends now. Like, they go really well now.
So he goes, get in the car, and he's like, I cannot tolerate rudeness.
Yeah. So it is.
This is really well written.
Awkward. It's so awkward. They get to my aunt's house. My aunt likes my dad because he's friendly and nice and like polite and stuff. And they have gem squash, which is like a squash, and the way you cook it is you cook it with the skin on, and then you eat the inside. Mm-hmm. So dad, he eats the skin as well as.
Oh my god.
He eats the skin. And the skin is hard. I don't know if you've had gem squash, but like the skin is quite hard. But he eats the whole thing.
God.
So they all start calling him Gem.
Oh.
Like calling him Gem.
That's brutal. That's
funny.
fucking
But
brutal.
also, I should say, like, he's like 15 years older than my uncle as well. So they're just like,
Oh, just dunking on this old guy.
basically.
Go, are we gonna eat the fork too? Gem.
Essentially, but for some reason that like my mum like kind of likes that, like
Okay.
that just that
Yeah.
she's sort of it's sort of like he
Endearing.
warms to her, yeah. And I think they must have just got on. She only when she tells the story, she tells it in like such a disparaging way to him. But like I am sure they must have had this part. They must have got on. He then just goes back to England.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there because his dad is really ill, which was why he was late.
Oh no.
Yeah. He goes back to England. And while he's there, at the time my his mum lived in South Africa as well. So my mum goes to visit his mum and like takes her out and stuff, and like, so my grandma and my mum had a really great relationship, which was really lovely. But yeah, so my dad just lives in the UK in this time, and they're still kind of courting and stuff and talking. He's brought up marriage almost straight away. Like on the first date, he was like, "Oh, people are going to assume that we're going to get married." Like he says that straight away. And my mum was like, "Okay, well, we've only just met, so like."
And I have a UB40
Yeah,
single.
I've got a
in the
UB40.
back, so-
That
Don't get
UB40
up.
guy took it to the Ritz as well, apparently.
Oh my god.
Okay, well, whatever. You made the
Whatever.
single
Dad-
sound like nothing, but
Yeah.
it was at the
Whatever, the
Ritz.
Ritz is rubbish. Dad takes it to Nando's every weekend.
Over the years, it adds up.
Yeah. One Ritz to Nando's every weekend.
Okay, that is romantic.
Yeah, and then on the phone, and then like I think he comes back. So his dad passes away, so he comes back for the funeral and stuff. And my mum never got to meet his dad, but then he's like, "Oh, do you want to get married?" And she was just like, "Yeah, all right." But this is 2 weeks after. This is
2 weeks after the death.
2 weeks after they first met.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so this is 2 weeks after they first met. He's like, "Oh, do you want to get married?" And she's like, "Yeah, all right."
Okay.
Yeah, and then he's
Okay.
like, okay, well, do you want a ring? Do you want to like get a ring?
You want a ring?
Do you want to get a ring? And she's like, yeah, that'd be good. And then, and then he's like, oh, okay, well, my budget is like 200 rands, which it was more then, but now it's like £10, so that can't be his budget. But I think then it must have been around like £100. And she's like, okay, well, no. And then she buys a ring for 2,000 rands. Just goes and gets her own ring. And then, like,
Okay.
and then they're just engaged. And then when he comes back, it's the wedding.
Wait, so he leaves, and then are they corresponding?
Yeah, they're talking, and that's when she's going and like visiting his mum and stuff like that.
Right.
And like they're talking and stuff.
Wait, so his mom lives in South Africa.
So at that time, his mum lived in South Africa.
And him and his dad were in London.
No, so they so basically my granddad came over to the UK like in the 60s because he was part of a union, and the unions were they were putting them in jail because they were connected to the ANC.
Okay.
So he comes over to England. A lot of people come over to England around that time for that reason. He works as a cobbler, earns enough money, brings over his wife and his 3 kids, the youngest of which is my dad. So my dad grows up here with like his mum and dad here in Walthamstow.
Fun.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Slice of history.
Yeah, that is really cool. And then right near Soho Theatre. So
There you go.
Everything comes around.
There you go.
And then and then my grandparents they moved back to South Africa because that's their home, that's where they want to go back to,
Right.
which is crazy because this place is the best. And then you live in Walthamstow and you go, what are you doing?
You could have been at the Soho Theatre too. You
The
don't even
house
know.
that they had would have
Oh
been
my
worth-
God, no, don't. We can't even.
No, we can't.
no,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
no.
Oh, sometimes I think about the houses that my dad was like, once him and his brother were like, we should do the maths on like the house that our parents owned.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we can't even look it
Yeah,
up. It's like
yeah,
too
yeah.
unbearable.
Yeah,
They
it
just like
is.
had this house.
Yeah, and all dad's always like, oh yeah, it was a shithole. It was a shithole. And
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, it's actually so elite now. Like,
Yeah. Oh my God, to have a house
Yeah,
in Walthamstow.
yeah. But yeah, so and then they moved back, and so like my dad would go and visit them basically. So that's what he's.
Okay, I
So
see.
my grandma lives there, and then when my granddad died, the 3 brothers brought my grandma back, so she lived in the UK.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my mum's visiting her and stuff like that. So, and then he comes up for the wedding, I think like a couple months later. On the wedding day, he is late because he works at BA. So
Say no more.
So he doesn't have to buy tickets for a flight because if someone cancels, he can just jump on a flight.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna do like a standby.
Yeah, so he does a standby for his own wedding. For his own wedding, he does a standby. That's what he's.
We
that's
love
what
a
he's
thrifty
doing.
king.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what has paid for all those Nando's all these years?
Yeah, exactly. That one trip. Yeah, so he's late because he's done this standby. He arrives. My mum said that when she saw him, she didn't recognize him because they've only known each other for 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Had
She
they
was
kissed by this point?
Yeah, they definitely kissed.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, maybe actually. I don't know. I never asked that because it makes me feel sick. So
And then they just got married?
yeah, he just arrived late and they got married. I think they spoke to they'd spoken to my granddad already or something. And my granddad was like, "Oh, you're rushing into this," and everyone was, but he was like, "Fine, whatever." And they just got married. Yeah,
Wait, but the granddad's saying that they're rushing into this.
my mum's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that she was single too late.
Yeah, but just because you're 31 and you're 30 and unmarried doesn't mean you have to get married in 2 weeks.
Also, they never put pressure on her. They never.
Okay.
So it was her. That's another reason I
It was
think
like
why.
societal pressure.
Yeah, so
not-
that's
okay,
so
okay,
that's
okay,
another
okay.
reason why I think that she was like she didn't really care because like her mum and dad didn't never put any pressure on her about it. Because I was complaining to my grandma because my mum was like, "Oh, I'd love to have grandchildren," and so I called my grandma. I was complaining about it, and my grandma,
Yeah,
who
sell her out.
always takes my side, was like, "Oh, well, no one put any pressure on her, so she shouldn't be putting any pressure on
Yeah,
you."
that's really cool.
She was like, she got to do whatever she wanted.
And she did.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
really did, yeah. And she never brought up the grandchildren thing again. So that's
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paint us a brief picture of each of your parents.
Okay.
Now. in their lives in general.
Okay.
Because after the wedding, they moved to the UK, right?
Huh? Oh yeah, so they went on a honeymoon down the road. Like I went running in South Africa, and my aunt was like, "Oh, this is where your parents went on a honeymoon," and I was like, "This was a 5-minute drive. Like this was a 5-minute drive from the house.
That's
Why?
sweet.
It's so cheap at this point. Dad has been unbelievably cheap,
And he could fly anywhere in the world on
Yeah,
standby. That's the
exactly.
worst part.
Yeah. And she has made him pay. I will say that. I will say that.
They do love going on a holiday.
Oh, they love a holiday.
Okay, they love
Okay,
a
so yeah,
holiday.
they
What's the
absolutely love a
dynamic?
holiday.
What are they like?
Okay, well, so Mum loves a holiday. Mum loves the good life. She's like, I work hard. I deserve the best things. She's a big fan of the best things. She wants the best things for her kids as well. Like,
Good.
she's a big fan of the best things for her kids. She's a woman who loves the best things.
Okay,
Is all I can say.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very stylish. She dresses like a Wallace mannequin, is what I would say. Like, you know, like
Okay.
yeah, like super stylish, very elegant as well, like very elegant. She's like a fighter as well. Like she'll fight for what's right. Like she's the special educational needs coordinator at her school, and so she's always like standing up for kids and like making sure they get their educational health.
She sounds
plans.
great.
Yeah, so she's
Love your
really
mum.
good.
She's
She's really
perfect.
great.
Okay, that's your mum
yeah.
and your dad.
So my dad, he loves to stay at home. Like that's
Okay,
his-
yes,
he, one
can
time
relate.
one time we
Me
were
too.
driving to Milton Keynes and he looked up at the Milton Keynes skyline and he said, with views like this, who needs New York? And I was
Yes! Can we sell this to Milton Keynes
like,
as a slogan?
I know. But I would say it's like one building. Like the skyline is the escape. And that's
And he's
it.
like, this is it for me.
Because BA
Yeah.
was his job, so it's busman's holiday to go on holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't his job for that long, and it was his job like quite a while ago to hate holidays. So like sometimes my mum will have to pay him to go on holiday. What?
Wait, I'm sorry, can you explain the finances of that, please?
Like,
How does that work?
well, they like he'll just be like, I want £1,000 in my account, otherwise I'm not going on holiday.
Oh my god, I want to be married to your mom. What is happening?
Wait, what? You
Yeah.
could just ask your mom for £1,000
I think
to
£1,000
go on holiday.
I think £1,000 is maybe like not the right amount.
I love
I don't
that
know how
though.
much it is, but like he'll ask. Basically, he'll be like, "Yeah, you have to transfer me, otherwise I won't go on holiday." It's
That's
like-
a good scam to have set up that you like hate going on
Oh, yeah,
holiday
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
so
Get paid.
much.
But all he wants to do is be in the garden. Like he loves
Okay,
the
nice,
garden.
lovely.
But
It's a
he
great
did.
garden.
But then he like replaced all the lawn with astroturf.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, he did that. But he loves being in there. But like
You don't have to water it. It's
Yeah.
grass.
And then
I
you
guess
don't
he
have to
didn't want
bother
to
with.
mow, but
he likes to change the shape of the astroturf. That's what he likes to spend. He's got 2 sheds.
different functions, same function.
I don't know.
You're not allowed in.
I asked him, I was like, why have you got this second shed? And he was like, well, I was clearing out the first shed
Absolutely.
and I needed somewhere to put the stuff.
Massive porn collection.
Ooh, I
I'm
love
kidding.
that.
I'm so
That's
sorry
boy
for saying
stuff.
that for your
That's
dad.
for boys.
That is boy stuff.
2 sheds is for boys.
Yeah, 2
stuff.
sheds. He loves sheds. He loves a bargain, but like sometimes
Great.
to his detriment. Like sometimes he'll
Because
just
the
find-
shed was half off.
Yeah,
He doesn't know what to do with
that's
it.
like that's the kind of
Yeah.
thing. He loves label making as well. He's got a labeler.
Oh my
He's got
God.
a label. He loves a gadget. My friend Ted calls our house the gadget house because he has so many gadgets. One time he bet no one bet him this, but he was like, I bet for £50 I can build a feature wall. In our house, and he spent £50 and he built a 3D feature wall that lit
What
up.
was the feature?
Well, it was like the lights, and also it was 3D, so it like came out in way. It looked terrible. It was so tacky.
He never said it would look good. He said it would be
Yeah.
£50.
Yeah, then it was 50
He said it would be £50.
He built a bar out of an IKEA bookcase.
Okay, that was cool.
Okay.
And everyone was really impressed, but he was like, no, it's not done. And then he stuck fence posts on it, and he was like, now it's a tiki bar. And we were like, this looks awful. And then he was like, you don't have the vision. Like, that's what he just
You've got
kept
to put
saying
that
to
in
us.
the shed. That's one for
You
the
don't have the
shed.
vision.
Okay, you have a brother. Tell us
I
about your
do.
brother.
Charlene, he's 2 years younger than me, but he's like very laid back. Basically, like he didn't really have any like mental health issues. So he
what is
seems
that
old.
like?
Parentheses derogatory.
So he seems old. So basically, he seems older than me. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. He just cruised through on sanity. So.
Yeah. Also, he's like very clever, like very clever. But he was like, well, I'll just work as hard as I need to get what I need. and then
Sounds balanced.
Yeah, which is insane to me. I'm
Couldn't be
just
me.
like, that doesn't make any sense. Why do you not like your intelligence? If you used it, you could do anything. And he's just like, nah, whatever.
I'll order a coffee too.
Yeah. He's very laid back. I would say we have very similar interests. Me and him, we get on very well. He's very funny as well. He's very quick. He's I always say he's like me, but like a little bit meaner. He's got like a mean edge, which is more fun. But
Agree
What
to
does
disagree.
he? Can you tell us what he does?
yeah, he works in recruitment.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have a podcast. He has
Wait,
a
what?
podcast.
What's his podcast?
Oh my God.
Let's
He's
plug
got
the
a
pod. Let's
podcast?
plug the pod. Plug your brother's
Yeah,
pod.
it's called the Clocking Off Podcast.
Okay, good
Yeah,
title.
it's just him and his friend. I asked to be on it, and he was like, "We'll see."
I love that. What's it about?
Gatekeeping the pod.
Yeah, I
Are
know.
they just vibing?
They do like games and stuff. They do like paddle show games, basically.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay. The perfect man does exist.
I love that. The thing is, we always joke about how the only way for two men to have a conversation is to make it a podcast.
Yeah.
And he did that.
One time he left, we were both home for the weekend, and he left early because he was recording the pod. And I was like, but you
Wow.
record on Zoom. And he was like,
Look,
nah, but I
he
need
was
to
like,
be in
"I
my own
just do
space.
not wanna be
I need
here."
to be in my own space for it. Which is
Okay.
what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melee intimacy is a
Yeah.
gorgeous beast.
Yeah.
I can tell you, that podcast probably doesn't even come out.
No, it does.
They
It
just
does.
want
No,
to
he
chat.
showed me the stats. I will say this. Mainly men listening.
Okay.
He was like, yeah, we got to change that.
Boys
I
did
was like,
something too. They're
Yeah.
allowed.
Yeah.
They're allowed to participate. And one day, if they try hard, maybe there'll be space for them in the arts.
In 2011, he was really into Nick Clegg. He had Clegg mania.
Yeah, you both are quite political
Yeah,
children.
we
Are your
both-
parents political?
Yeah, well, not for some reason, like not as much as you would expect, considering like how much me and him care about politics or are interested in it. But Dad was super political. Well, he came up in like the 70s and stuff, so there's
Yeah.
a lot of like anti right wing, and like in the 80s as well, like anti Thatcher and like and all of that. And he was part of like a lot of like counterculture groups, and then also like the racism in the 70s and things like that. So
Yeah.
he had this like very left wing, like mixed.
Yeah, and hard
race
also to
focus.
be connected to South Africa and like through
Yeah.
that period and not
Yeah,
have
definitely.
some sense
Yeah.
of those things.
Mum was I think she was political, but like in a very stylish way. Like she did the boycotts and stuff.
Okay,
but,
chic.
but like but you know, like she like in a crop top. You know what I mean? Like like
No one's saying you can't look hot while being
Completely.
political.
I guess she works in education, so
Yeah,
that's
fine, you
gonna
have to
make
be.
you like very engaged with it. But I don't know. I just think like they watch the news a lot and things like that. So I used to watch with them, but this is the story they told me. So basically, I used to watch it with them, and then I used to ask them who everyone was, and so this was in 97, 98
Yeah.
at that time, which, as we know, the main players were the new Labour candidate.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So I
Pravanya will find a way to bring up New Labour in a podcast about anything.
That's who you notice, that's who you like.
yeah. So then, and I would be like, oh, who are they? And then they tell me. And as a party trick, then I learned who everyone was.
Stop it, that's cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and they would so they would be like, so who's Chancellor of the Exchequer? Like, who's Secretary of State? Like,
That
all of
is
that. And I
good.
would just be able to reel it all
Oh
off.
my god. If I were a parent, I would make you do that on TV.
They made me do it.
I'd
They
call
made me do
Dr.
it.
Phil or whatever and just be like, I have
They
to do
should
this
have
kid.
actually.
Adorable.
Yeah, but yes, I just said they should have. I was like angry that they didn't take advantage of it. I had a skill.
The first time I ever knew who a prime minister was, or what a prime minister was even, was I was listening to the radio in the car and they were talking about how John Major was having an affair. And then I was like,
Yes.
what's an affair? And then I was like, what's a prime minister?
You learned about affairs before.
Those two things at the same time. I used to watch Coronation Street with my mum. And then there reached a point on Coronation Street where two characters whose names I can't remember now were having an affair with each other. And I was so involved in this affair that I was talking to people outside my family about these people as if I knew them. And then my mom was like, no more Coronation Street. I really was like invested in this affair that was happening.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Aw.
So you were that was your party trick. That's adorable. What did you have a party trick when you were a child?
Yeah, singing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
so
I used to, my mom, for some reason, you know your parents decide something about you that you just kind of take on faith, and then in retrospect you're like, I don't know why you decided that. She at some point, I want to say from the ages of 3 to 7, it was like, she has perfect pitch. She just decided. I didn't know what pitch was. I was like, yes, I do. I had no idea.
Good pitch, so maybe she's right.
No, but also it's like, how can a 3-year-old have perfect pitch?
Okay, I love it though. She's like, Olga's the
She's
singer.
always like, yeah, her, because she smoked at the time. And Olga's got perfect
Adorable.
pitch. How about you? What's yours?
I would like sommelier a glass of wine.
Oh,
I would like swirl the wine and sniff the wine
No.
and sip the wine and be like, delicious. That's what I would do at my parents' dinner parties.
That's mad.
From when I was a
That's
little
insane.
baby, like a toddler. Yeah, I'd like swirl it and sniff it.
Everyone would just watch you do
Yeah.
that.
Okay, to be fair, if I was like, if I was a drunk adult at someone's dinner party, that would be the chillest thing to see.
Toddler do.
Just a kid chugging a Merlot. I would love to see that. But okay, so there's a Russian joke where it's like, look at Vovechka. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't do drugs. And then Vovechka goes, it's because I can't anymore. So you don't drink anymore. And it's like, it's because
I was drinking when I was 3, 4 years old. I can't remember really, like, I wasn't like, I would take a sip and I don't remember finding it disgusting, but I wasn't like, I think I just was like doing the performance of it.
Oh yeah, but the
of course.
attention.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
drunk on
Yeah, that
attention.
goes-
Yeah,
that goes-
exactly. But that's a great one. Did you ever feel like you could have had a career in politics?
No, I don't. My feelings get hurt too easily.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't like it when people are mean to me. I
Fair,
don't
fair.
understand.
But I
I'm like,
think
why
that
are you
could be
being
your
mean?
platform.
Why are you being mean?
Yeah, and then
Stop
like,
being mean. Stop it. Like at Prime Minister's questions, I'd just be like, well, how can you say, why are you all laughing at me? Shut up. Like, it wouldn't work.
but I think
that feels like the vibe of a lot of people now. So I think you fit right in.
I think that could be like, oh my god, she's like the first relatable queen.
Yeah, campaign slogan, why are you being mean to me?
Yeah.
Sort out your own shit.
That says more about you than it does about me.
I'll mind my business, you mind yours. I'd vote for you.
Yeah, 100%.
I'd do it.
I agree with every statement.
Wait, so who did you like the best? Tony Blair?
Yeah.
You just really like Tony Blair?
Yeah. Well, as a kid.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably Tony Blair. Maybe I love Gordon Brown as well. Well, I love Gordon Brown now, so I must have loved it then.
This is Sophie's choice, okay? Can I show you something that will absolutely rock your world right now?
Yeah.
This is a screenshot of a Wikipedia article. Tony Blair is a male given name in Kosovo.
Yeah, Tony Blair. Yeah, because
people
because
will
they
be
love
like,
him in Kosovo because of
Tony
the
Blair
intervention.
Smith. You like have the,
Yeah,
it's like
Tony
the
Blair.
first name.
One
Yeah.
word, it's Tony Blair.
Tony Blair.
No!
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah.
Tony Blair.
But spelled Toniblier.
Mm.
Tony Blair.
Tony Blair.
Wow.
So I think that's the name of the firstborn for you.
Tony Blair.
Tony Blair Pillay.
Tony Blair. Okay, but like for a girl,
No,
I
he
love
doesn't
it.
have the same. I don't know. I can't now.
Tony. Tony. What's your full name? Tony Blair.
Tony Blair. Tony. Short for Anthony? No. Guess again.
Guess again.
Wait, can we go back to your family?
Yeah.
So, how many people are still in South Africa?
All of my mum's side is there,
And your dad's side is here.
and my dad's side is here,
Yeah.
except for his older brother who moved to South Africa, which is crazy.
Interesting, because he grew up here. So, this is the only life he's known. And then
Yeah,
he
they
moved
moved
to South
there.
Africa.
We don't understand it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For
He
the
doesn't
sun.
listen to this.
And have you ever gone
Vibes.
back to where your ancestors came from India?
No, I've never been to India ever.
Oh, interesting.
No,
Would you
I've
like to
never
go?
Yeah,
There you have it.
I wouldn't mind. My Charlene went on his gap year.
Yeah.
Um,
What did he think?
He loved it.
Cool.
He wasn't he was agnostic when he went. Then he went there and he went to a temple and he became he came back really religious. Well, not really. Well, just as
That
religious.
must feel kind of crazy. There's like something
Yeah, there was he was like
Something in
he
there
just
that's
being in the
you.
temple. He just felt like
What religion?
connected.
Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
is that are the South Africans in India all Hindu?
Yeah, most of them. No, not all of. No, there's it's the same demographic. So there's like people who are
Interesting.
Muslim, people who are Sikh and things. I think it's majority Hindu though, because they were taken from the south. Most of them were taken from the south.
So is the cuisine of the culture like South African influence?
Yeah, it is. So it's all curry.
Yeah.
But it's they had to just make do with the spices and stuff that they had there. So
Yeah.
it is quite a different type of curry
Ooh.
to what you would get like what you get in India. They have this thing called bunny chow, which is just like a hollowed out piece of bread, and they've just filled it with like mutton curry.
I'm interested in that.
That sounds delicious.
I'm interested in that.
And
Wait, that's like a Panera bread soup.
Wait, are you
Yeah.
eating it? You're eating the interior, then you're eating the bread, or you're taking bread and...
You're taking bread and you're like dip it and
Oh!
eating it. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Which
you have
one
like the
finishes
top
first?
Yeah.
What's faster?
So they give
In.
you like the inside of the bread as well to eat it.
Oh.
with. Yeah.
So you're eating an entire loaf of bread.
Yeah, well,
what
you
I'm
can have
hearing
like
is-
a half bunny or a quarter bunny.
Okay.
No, you're having the
No,
whole
I'm eating a bread.
No,
loaf of
and
bread.
it's zero
You don't have
waste.
to ask me twice.
It's zero waste.
Yeah.
You don't have to bother with a plate or anything.
Evidence is destroyed. Like what's that story about? Whose story
The
is it?
woman,
The
Roald
woman.
Dahl.
Yeah,
who-
Roald Dahl.
She kills her husband with a leg of lamb, and then she
Frozen
puts it
leg
in
of
the
yeah,
oven.
yeah. I remember
And
that.
That's
then
what
they
that's
go-
what it made me think.
I went to South Africa for my cousin's wedding
Oh,
about
right.
5 years ago, and things about it I liked.
Oh, I
There were some things but a lot of it I was like,
Hmm.
there's a weird vibe here. But my
Yeah.
favorite thing that happened the entire trip was that my brother and I went on a tour of Robben Island. My
Oh,
parents
wow.
had already been. My brother and I went by ourselves. We're like going around on this tour bus the whole day. They're like for hours and hours and hours telling us the story of how people were like imprisoned for a long time for being political prisoners in a terrible way. We get to the very, very end, and he's like, many international dignitaries and diplomats have visited, like Hillary Clinton, and then a man in front of us yells, "Lock her up!"
Oh my god!
It's like, you, sir, did not listen.
Yeah.
You have missed that point.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's someone with really weird political ideology going to that.
Insane that you've made it around that whole place where they're like, the one singular message is like, we must not lock people up for political views.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's crazy.
Anyway, a lot of sunshine. I guess there's wine. That was my takeaway. That was my takeaway of South Africa.
I remember when I went, I was like 10 or 11. There was like a plaza of a hotel, and it had all the famous people that went there. And one of the people was Russia's ex-vice president, and that was not a real person. Someone just lied to them. And they
really?
believed it enough to like
Stop.
engrave it
Oh
into the
my
plaza.
God.
So it was like actors, dignitaries, and then it's just like Russia, and it's like Russia's never had a vice president, or like up until that point at least.
We have to start pulling more of an Anna Delvey when we go places. You know what I mean? You could do it.
just,
You
like,
could
yeah,
do it.
like,
We
I'm
could all
Russia's
get away with
ex-vice
it.
president. They would engrave my name into a thing.
We all
I guess
got
it
to
was
start.
pre-Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even.
Because if
look
it's a
that up.
How would
completely
you
foreign
check?
country, how do you check? Do you call the library? You're like,
Well, like, who's that guy who's about to be on the American Traitors? We were just looking at the cast list for the American Traitors. One of them that was like a
Mountbatten?
a Mountbatten, apparently,
Ooh.
who you've never heard of in your life.
They're all like related to the viceroy of.
I guess so.
Yeah.
There must be loads of them, if he even is one. And he's just gone to America and been like, I'm basically a
royal.
prince.
Well, there was a reality show. It was like, I'm going to marry Harry. Do you remember that? It was just a redhead guy. And all these American girls were like, that's Prince Harry.
Yeah, they don't know. They
Pre
don't know.
the internet, the life was wild.
Anyway, on that note, we should wrap up.
Pravanya, thank you so much for coming on to our podcast.
Thanks
Do you
so
have
much for
anything to
having me.
plug?
No, I
Your
don't
social
think so.
media?
Oh yeah, I always forget. I always forget. Yeah, it's Pravanya Pillay 69.
Hell yeah.
The year I was born.
And whenever you find yourself at a South African Indian barbecue, don't forget to bring the meat.
Honestly,
I don't care if you're not going to eat it. It's rude not to.
You gotta bring your meat.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This podcast this week is produced by us.
And the theme tune was written by Ronan Shields. Thank you so much.
Bye.